Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you know, in our last tutorial, we had learned about use callback hook. In today's tutorial, we will be learning use memo hook. Keep in mind that same as last tutorial, use memo hook is also related to performance optimization. In today's tutorial, we will be taking one example of counter as we are traditionally implementing it from the beginning, and we will try to learn a bit about memory optimization with the help of use memo hook. Let's go ahead to component folder and create a new file called counter.js. RFC, we had created a functional component. Inside that one, we will be taking two counter values. Const counter 1 and counter 2. Counter 1, comma, set counter 1 equals to use state and the value is 0. Similarly, counter 2 and set counter 2. Similarly, I will be creating two methods. Increment counter 1 equals to an arrow function. Set counter 1 equals to counter 1 plus 1. Similarly, I'll be creating another method to increment counter 2 value. Counter 2 and set counter 2. Now inside div, I will be creating an h6 tag. Inside that one, I'll create a button in which I will say counter hash and then inside that one hyphen counter value. Similarly, I will copy this one and paste here and I will show counter 2 value here this time. On click event of counter 1, I will pass increment counter 1 function. On click event for counter 2, I will pass increment counter 2 method. Let me go to my hit save. Let's go to app.js and import counter component here. Let's hit save. Go to our browser. Control Shift R. Once I will click, the counter is working very fine. 1 and 2 counter, both of them are working very fine traditionally. There is nothing new we had implemented until now. But as I told you in this tutorial, we will be learning somehow performance optimization and use memo. Let's go ahead and add another requirement to our example. This is increment counter. Traditional increment counter is going on. What I want here is I want you to identify and show the value either it's even and or odd. For example, I'll say const even equals to an arrow function. What arrow function will return? Arrow function will return counter value 1 modulus of 2 double equals to 0. If counter value 1 double equals to 0, what will happen? I'll show a text even. Otherwise, I'll show a text odd. How can I show that one here is I'll create a span tag at the top of button like this, and inside that one I'll create a floor bracket curly braces. Inside that one I'll say even and just say question mark. If it's true, then show here even. What otherwise show? Otherwise show here odd. Let's hit save. Go to our browser. You guys can see I'll create a BR here also. So let's see, the counter is even right now. Once I will click, the counter value turned to odd. Once I click, the counter changed to even again. Once I'm clicking here, nothing happens. This is very basic and very normal. But in the real life scenarios, Identification or manipulation in the state is not as much simpler as I am seeing right now in my example. Let's assume like you are having 1,000 of products, you have to fetch them from DB, then you have to map them in some sort of array. Later on, you have to filter them, and after filtering the remaining product, just what you have to do is you have to sum up the prices of them, and then you have to return that price. In these kind of scenarios, it will not consume small time. It will consume much better, perform much more time than we are consuming right now in our even function. So for that one, what I will do here is I will simply try to add a wait state in my even function by adding a while loop. How? Let's say let I equals to 0 while I is less than 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and every time you will do I plus plus. That's it. Save. Let's go to our browser. Let me do reload. Once I will click on counter button now, just focus with me. Once I will click counter button, there is a small delay, like kind of 1 second delay. After that, the value of odd appears. Once I will click on counter 2, same thing is happening. There is a kind of delay in my code execution. If I will go to inspect element, I will do here console.log. For example, I will say even function called. Let's hit save and go to our browser. Once I will click on counter 1, even function is called. Once I am clicking on counter 2, still even function is called. I am adding counter 2 button incrementing, even function is getting called. I am incrementing counter 1, even function is getting called. I had click counter 1 10 times and counter 2 11 times. Overall 21 times counter function is called, and one time it is being called on rendering of the element. So what is happening whenever I am clicking my button 1 counter, the even function is calling. Whenever I am clicking on counter 2 button, the even function is again calling. What is happening? Whenever, as I told you in your last example, as soon as there is any change in the props or state, your component gets re-rendered. This re-rendering actually makes problem. Like for example, when you are manipulating state for counter 1, your whole component will get re-render. What React will do, React will make a copy of your even function again and pass it through the JSX. As soon as you will manipulate counter 2, state 2 will be manipulated. Same thing happens again. So what I want here is, if in case, as I told you, you have a complex logic, business logic here, it will destroy a lot of memory for you. So for optimization, what you have to do here is you have to use memo hook. Use memo hook, what it will do, it will create a memory for your state and just pass the same function back until and unless there is a change in the dependency arrays variable. How? Let me import use memo hook here. Use memo. Use memo hook is nothing but just a function. I'll say use memo. Similar to use callback, use memo take your callback as parameter 1, and second will be the dependency array. Here you have to tell to use memo hook if there is change in this state. For example, I am getting changed in counter 1, then give me an updated state of this callback, otherwise keep it as it is. This is what your use memo hook is. So let me hit save and go back to my browser. I'll say even is not a function. Now this time it will return a value returned by this function. What happened is this callback returned some function. It will be saved in this variable. As soon as the state value change, this time that callback will be called and the updated value will be inside that variable. So it's not a function anymore. Let me hit save and try to reload the browser. Once I will click counter 1, you can see my even function is called. Again counter 1 clicked, even function is called, counter 1 clicked, even function is called. Now I will click counter 2. Once I am clicking counter 2, you guys can see my even function is not impacted with counter 2 state. This is how you can optimize your functions by using useMemo hook. I hope you guys understand useMemo hook in detail. In case of any question, in case of anything, any query, just you can comment us or you can reach us to our mailbox also. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. See you in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.